racing coming your way as the cars take to the tracks, starting in, this is Group 10, a 12-minute plus 1 lap qualifying race. So there is a margin of top-end performances and times here, because we're looking at distinctly different cars, but you will definitely enjoy watching these cars at speed. 4-3 as they come down the front straightaway. Starter again looking him over, giving him plenty of time. No green yet. We're still watching. We've got a green. And away they go. Hit it for one.
And I think you're going to say, oh, we've got it looks like the stock car that was on the front row has dropped way back. I think he may have missed a gear.
That's what I was thinking. That's what it looked like, because he got back into it. He's back to speed. So this again is a 12-minute plus 1 race, and we'd like to remind the Formula Junior group, you need to bring your cars up right now. We want to get you out just as quickly as possible. For Formula Junior, bring your cars to the grid. Thank you.
And I think you can see Kirk Bennett in that shadow. That's a late Can-Am car. Those cars dominated the Can-Am after the McLarens and the Porsches had left. Won the series with George Fulmer, and not sure who the second driver was. I think at one race it was Jarrier, but I'm not positive. And we're looking as the field heads down toward the hairpin. We've got that on our monitor here, and we'll let you know how it shapes up. Keep an eye on that Decon Monza. That's that white and green car. I've driven one of those, and they are fabulous race cars. It's the very first silhouette tube frame car out of anybody, built for a new class, All-American GT in IMSA. Great car to drive, very forgiving, very easy to drive. Backed through the back door, of course, by Chevrolet, and he just tried an inside move at the hairpin that did not work. That will cost him at least 5-6 car lengths.
Yeah, that All-American GT car was really the outgrowth of John Bishop, who really fine-tuned the racing in IMSA, saw the Porsche dominance just going on year after year, and decided they needed something from the American side to make it competitive.
Well, and all the great races are about contrast.
Yeah.
And putting a car with power against a car with handling is the best kind of contrast you can have. And the guy that built those cars was Horst Queck, and they were designed by Lee Dykstra, and that's the D-Con of D-Con. Oh, and look at that number 42 Corvette. I think that's Peter Kloot. And he's ahead of the fastest stock car. He's running second now.
A Corvette in a Monte Carlo. You wouldn't see that very often.
It sounds like a Chevy showroom.
It sure does. And then the shadow looks so out of place in this entire field. It looks like it doesn't belong there.
Well, it belongs at the front of it, especially with Kirk Bennett driving.
Yeah.
Kirk and his dad, Bud Bennett, run a shop that restores and prepares Can-Am cars, Formula 5000, all the big stuff. And Kirk's been driving big stuff since he started. I think he even did a little sprint car racing. Very, very accomplished driver. Still pretty young, which really makes me angry.
Bennett's a full 8 seconds faster than the second fastest car. A 2:22 for Bennett, a 2:30 for Kloot, who leads in A-Pro. The SC3 leader is O'Connell, running third overall at a 2:31.3. And he's got a good battle going on between O'Connell and Soonen. Those are SC3 cars. You have SC3 and SC2 entries. These are all, I believe, SC3 cars in this group. No, there's a couple of SC2s out there too.
And Peter Kloot actually, based on qualifying, was almost 3 seconds off of the pace of Kevin O'Connell in that Chevrolet Monte Carlo, and that is a very fast NASCAR stock car. Surprisingly, the NASCAR stock cars are fairly easy to drive. They're very hot inside, but you've got power steering, you've got power assist on the brakes, so the effort isn't that great, but you're slinging a lot of boost around.
Yes, you are, but you've got good protection. The roll cages in those cars are like tanks.
It's nice to know that if you hit the concrete barrier, it's the barrier that's going to suffer and not the car.
Amen. SR leader, Bennett, in car 101, the Shadow, and then the A production entry of Kloot, leading in A production, second overall. SC3 leader is O'Connell in a good battle with Don Soonen, who's right behind him in car number 2. GT2 leaders, Don No, he's running 5th overall in 89, and the GT1 leaders, Kyle Hogan in car number 24.
And Kirk is just out for a Sunday drive in that number 101 car. Those cars were, the money behind it was Don Nichols, who not only ran Can-Am cars, he actually ran a Formula One team. And I believe that car was designed by Trevor Harris.
Yeah, Bennett clocks at 215.9. That's a 90.7 mile per hour average, and has opened up a 15.7 second spread over the SC3 leader now is Kevin O'Connell.
And I would keep my eye on that blue Can-Am car, the Cuddy car. He should be a lot better through the twisty stuff than those NASCAR stock cars. I can tell by the livery that that car was originally run by one of the great privateers, Bill Cuddy.
So you got Bennett in the lead, and the BSR, or the SR car, the SC3 leader is Kevin O'Connell, running second overall in car number 59. Running third overall is the A production class leader, Clute in 42A, and then running fourth overall, the GT2 leader. So the top four cars overall are also leading their respective classes. Don No in car number 89 rounds out that group. Second in SC3 now is Don Sunin, followed by Jim Stengel, who is second in SR, and then Kyle Hogan in car number 24, who is the GT1 leader. That's followed in 8th place by Pierre Molechek, 9th is Debbie Cloud, and 10th is Wes McNay.
And you may remember Debbie Cloud was in an earlier race.
That's correct.
Mustang Cobra. She and her husband John Cloud run several different cars. They're all big Moosey Fords. I think they have a couple of Chevys too. And they like that big heavy duty stuff, and Debbie has come a long way as a driver. She's, did you say she was Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, she was Rookie of the Year her first year with SVRA, and I believe that was 2 years ago, if I remember correctly. In SC3, it's Kevin O'Connell, car 59, second overall. Second in SC3 is Don Sunin, car number 2, fifth overall. Third in SC3, it's Pierre Molechek, in car number 96, eighth overall. 2:15.565, fastest lap of the race. A 91 mile per hour average on lap 3 by Craig Bennett in this abbreviated races. We are already 6 minutes into this 12-minute plus one.
And here comes our stock car leader, Kevin O'Connell, and he is doing a fabulous job with that big heavy car. And we have a race going on between Peter Clute, number 42, and the number 89.
Don No.
Don No. That's an Olds Cutlass.
Corvette and a Cutlass.
And I believe that that Cutlass, that's not a NASCAR stock car. I believe that that was a GTO car.
It was, yeah.
From IMSA.
So it's Bennett leading in R, O'Connell in SC3, Clute in A production, No in GT2.
And what a great Porsche battle we have between 02 and 43. The 02 car's got the little bitty, the original 930 ducktail. And the number 43 has the larger rear wing. And he is ducking inside, going into one. He makes the pass.
And the SC2 leader is running 11th overall. That's car 30, Wes McNay in that Pontiac Grand Prix. 3 laps of the books. 7 minutes into this 12+1 race. We have 20 cars starting this race. Bennett with a 20-second spread right now. He's
yeah, and he's just pedaling. He got down to a 2:08 yesterday, and he's running 2:15.
Right.
I think what he's trying to do is give the people behind him another lap to race by pedaling back a little bit, which is really good sportsmanship. He's a great driver, and he just has the overdog car in this group.
O'Connell dominating in SC3.
And we've got a car off at the hairpin.
Oh, that's second place. That's O'Connell.
Yeah, it looks like he spun off, slid all the way across the asphalt. He is not in a great spot. If anybody loses their brake coming into the hairpin, he's going to be wearing them.
And that car doesn't have a mark on it, so it must be mechanical trouble. And beautiful machine.
He may have just overestimated how deep he could go.
But he should be able to restart. He's on the asphalt.
And that would mean that Peter Clute is going to move up to second, although he's got his hands full with Don No. I wouldn't be surprised if No gets by him. And I should mention that Peter Kloot, he's a Canadian. Yeah, as a matter of fact, not only is No got by him, but so is that Bill Cuddy car.
Jim Stengel.
Yeah, Jim Stengel. They have it misidentified as black rather than blue on the sheet, but I know that car.
So Bennett remains first overall in car 101, the Shadow. The GT 2-liter Don No now running second overall. Second in SR is Jim Stengel in car number 3, third overall. Fourth overall is the A production leader, Peter Kloot in car 42A. SC3 leader Don Sunan now leads in SC3 with the retirement of the 59 car. Sunan inherits the lead in that class. He's running 5th overall in car 2. GT1 leaders Kyle Hogan in car 24 running 6th overall. S2 leader Wes McNay in car 30 running 10th overall.
And people in the stands may notice the starter holding out a blue flag. The blue flag is advisory. That you don't have to do anything. It just tells you there's somebody close behind you. Be aware of it. That's all it means. You're not obliged to move out of the way. As a matter of fact, we always tell students in driving school, if there's a faster car coming up behind you, stay on your line. Let him figure out how to get around. Because if you move over to make room, you may move right in the path of where he's planning to pass you.
And that happens a lot if you have a wet day and some of the slower cars that are bearing the rain qualify ahead of the faster cars that are good in the dry, and then the sun comes out and it is a guessing game.
And speaking of sun, we've got beautiful, glorious sun now. The weather really broke right for us. We had cloud cover this morning so that the drivers weren't looking directly into that sun going into turn 1. And now as the day winds toward noontime, we've got beautiful, beautiful Texas sunshine.
Yeah, that sunshine is just about as brilliant as the Texas hospitality we've experienced here this weekend. We've had a great state. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Are your lips chapped?
Okay, we'd like to remind folks that no shorts in the pits, no open-toed shoes, and no minors, and that's just in the hot pits where the cars come in. I'd like to.
And moving up to second place is Jim Stengel in that McLaren MA. Followed by 89, the Cutlass, and then Peter Kloot in the fastest of the production cars in that. Peter Kloot's Canadian, and he used to be half of the Dream Car Garage show on the Speed Channel, the now defunct Speed Channel, with my dear friend, the late Tom Nachu, who was, with all due respect to Ed Conway and myself, he was the best track announcer I ever met in my life. He could keep more balls in the air and more ideas going at one time than anybody else I ever met.
He also had the largest entourage of any announcer I've ever seen. In the booth would have 15 people in it sometime. Yeah, I like Tom. We had a lot of fun together. Stengel turns his best lap on lap 5 at 2:20.3 and puts him in the number 2 spot. So SR is running 1 and 2, but the spread is 40 seconds between the Shadow and Stengel.
Oh, and what a battle between Ken McKinnon in that Gulf liveried Porsche with the red number 52 right behind him. And right ahead of him is a stock car that just leaves him on the straightaway, but blocks him in the corners. Very, very difficult to figure out, okay, what's the right thing to do? I close on this guy, I get right behind him, can't find a way by, and then we hit the straightaway and he vanishes. And meanwhile, I've got a guy that I'm actually racing against in my class right behind me.
And we should be coming up on the last lap, and we are. The sign comes out to Craig Bennett. He is now officially starting the checkered flag lap. 6 laps in the books, working lap 7. On lap 4, the best time of 2:14.363, 91.8 mile per hour average, set by Craig Bennett, who started in car 101. Second in SR, Jim Stengel in car number 3. The GT2 leader is Don No in car 89. He is running 3rd overall. The A production leader is Peter Kloot in 42A. He's running 4th overall. The SC3 leader is Don Sunan in car number 2. He's running 5th overall. And the GT1 leader is Kyle Hogan, running 6th overall on car number 24. The SC2 leader remains Wes McNay in car 30, running 10th overall. This is the checkered flag lap.
Boy, and Jim Stengel is really hanging it out in that big McLaren. I bet that last lap was one of his best.
You're right on the money there, Bert. 2:20.6, his best lap of the race, and 87.7 mile per hour average. Bennett, Stengel, No, and Clute have taken the last lap sign, are all on their checkered flag lap.
There's that pretty number 24 Decon Monza. Great car.
Yeah, his best lap at 2:25.3 on lap 4. John Cloud moves up, gets by Debbie Cloud.
Yeah, they're great.
I guess he'll have to buy her dinner.
Yeah, husband and wife team. They race not only with each other, but against each other, and in 2 different classes. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of love there too, which is cool, really cool. McNay rounds out the top 10. He is the SC2 leader.
And my buddy Jim Cantrell just took he's in that number 6 Valvoline car, came up the back, and he took a very creative line.
2 SR cars out there, Bennett and Stengel. They're running first and second. The GT2 leader is Don No. The closest GT2 car to him is Brian Petty, who's running second in GT2. Third in GT2 is Ken McKinnon.
And there's those 2 Porsches right together going into the last lap, and I misidentified, I'm sorry. The number 6 NASCAR car is Steve Beck, not Jim Cantrell, my mistake.
A production leader is Peter Clutt, car number 42.
There's the win for Craig Bennett, Sunday Drive. Just put a great driver in the best car, and the rest is history.
Yeah, his best time at 2:14.3, 91.8. Slowed it down to a 2:20 on that last lap.
And that is a big, powerful Chevrolet motor, a big block motor in that Shadow.
Yeah, the Shadow, the Red Lobster car, and both were probably 2 of the most photographed cars in their era. Car designed by Lamont Cranston. You'd have to be over 40 to get that, yeah.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men?
Yeah.
The Shadow knows.
That along with Inner Sanctum and all those other.
And here comes Jim Stengel, completing his race, taking second in class and second overall. And then the number 89, that Cutlass GTO car, takes third, followed by Peter Clute in the number 42 Corvette, and that is one heck of a fast Corvette.
Good looking car.
And then look at this battle. The number 2 NASCAR stock car pulls away from the Decon Monza, which does have a small block Chevy in it. And let's look for that Porsche battle. There's John and Debbie Cloud in the 2 NASCAR stock cars crossing the line.
It was nice of Debbie to let John win.
I don't think she let him. I think he took it. But she's been running with him or ahead of him all season long. They have some great racing. Wes McNay just ahead of Steve Beck. And I'm interested to see how that Porsche battle comes out.
Gordon Johnson finishing 12th overall in car 57. He's taking the check. We still have Petty, Plavin,
Verstuft, and right McKinnon together. 43 and 02. 2 of our Porsches. We got one more Porsche battle yet to come, and it's Ken McKinnon. He got around the NASCAR stock car, goes way out onto the black stuff coming through the last corner. Wonderful job.